my name is Paige Haldeman. The topic I will be speaking on today is the political shift seen in the right wing. More specifically, I will be arguing Donald Trump has aided the inflammatory movement of the alternative right. The question that guided my research was how has President Donald Trump aided the movement of the alternative right through rhetoric and actions. The alternative right, or the self-entitled alt-right, can best be defined as conservative extremists. Mike Wendling, a well-known researcher on the topic, describes them as unorganized factions of the far right who espouse white supremacy and white nationalism. He furthers this by calling the movement a creature of the internet. Ultimately, they are fringe groups of the far right searching for a voice in mainstream politics. This disorganization can be seen through tendency to move with the political flow. Wendling describes the state of the movement as several factions which shrink or swell according to the political forum and the task at hand. With the past presidency of Barack Obama and the representation of the Democratic Party in office, the alt-right has had little acceptance in modern politics. With the movement of the left wing, the right wing has begun to expand from moderately conservative values in an effort to differentiate themselves politically. Trump gifted the alt-right with the best asset he could have given them, that being a political voice. Through Trump, the alt-right has gained a sympathetic voice at the highest levels in political office. This leads me to my thesis. Donald Trump has methodically engaged in the growth and movement of the alt-right through expression and behavior during his campaign and presidency. Media and online platforms gifted the alt-right with the stage they needed to grow. Websites like 4chan, 8chan, Gab, and countless more have become foundations for political discussions within the niche that has become the alternative right. Today, sites like 4chan have gained popularity as shown through statistics found on Alexa, an online website statistic database. Between 2009 and 2011, 4chan went from 5 million visitors a month to 10 million. Currently, 4chan has an estimated 22.5 million visitors a month, making it one of the top 400 sites in the US. Edward Kessler, the founder of the Wolf Institute, describes the impact of social media by saying, quote, "Its impact depends on the people who use it," end quote. This change can be seen explicitly through a rise in white supremacy groups. The Southern Poverty Law Center found the number of hate groups rose from 917 to 954 in 2017. Within the white supremacist movement, neo-Nazi groups saw the greatest movement after growing by 22%. Kessler furthers his opinion by saying social media has no respect for borders or doctrines. As seen through my research question, how has Donald Trump aided the movement of the alt-right? Through rhetoric and actions, it can be understood that platforms like these have allowed for expression and demonstrate social media's challenge to traditional authority. The lasting reward for the alt-right was an increase in notoriety. In a personal interview I was able to have with Vegas Tennell, the author of Everything You Love Will Burn, Tennell stated that, quote, "Trump isn't the biggest reason behind radicalization. Algorithms are," end quote. Tennell explains that the same algorithms that help viewers find what they will like also pushes them into deeper content. Kessler and Tennell both agree these algorithms limit exposure to opposing views and create a toxic environment that is rich for radicalization. Donald Trump has not become racist just recently with his political interest. He has just been given the publicity and platform to display his racism. Dating back as far as the 1970s, Trump's business practices have been discriminatory towards African American, women, and immigrants. Lawsuits in 1973 charged Trump with a violation of the Fair Housing Act of 1968. His refusal to rent to potential tenants who were African American was a blatant disrespect of his racism before he gained political notoriety. As Trump began to have political aspirations, his bigoted views became more public and overtly racist. The 2016 Trump campaign continually attacked minorities with thinly veiled racist slogans, such as "Make America Great Again," as well as "America First." The slogan "America First" made its appearance in 1884 as a political expression, but in 1919 it became adopted as a KKK motto. Slogans like these have been stigmatized by historical definitions, and in no way can they be appropriately rebranded by the Trump administration. While Trump's racist views were aligned with the campaign rhetoric, the messages behind these slogans were fueled by people like Steve Bannon, a founder of an alt-right news outlet, Breitbart. Steve Bannon was arguably one of the most influential individuals to Trump. Bannon's position as the chief executive of Trump's presidential campaign granted him the ability to craft messages that spoke to the alt-right in undertones that presented on the outside as patriotic. Trump messages allowed for interpretation by voters who related to the content, including not only the alt-right, but also white males and conservative Christians. Tennell in the interview describes the continuity between the alt-right mindset and Trump by saying, quote, "Trump's views are of a similar mindset to the alt-right, in the aspect that the world to them is a zero-sum game," end quote. Subsequent to the Charlottesville riot, Trump was quoted describing the violence of the alt-right participators as, quote, "People who are following me are very passionate. They love this country, and they want this country to be great again. They are very passionate, end quote. This acknowledgement of passion from his fan base, from Donald Trump, doesn't address the nefarious side of these passionate intentions. Rather than denouncing the actions of the alt-right supporters, Trump equated their acts of violence to acts of patriotism. Terror attacks by far-right affiliators increased over the past decade and more than quadrupled between 2016 and 2017. There has always been alt-right extremist activity, but this has become amplified since Trump expressed political aspirations. Between 2007 and 2011, the number of such attacks were 5 or less per year. The number of attacks rose to 14 in 2012 and continued at a similar level between 2012 and 2016, with a mean of 11 attacks and a median of 13 attacks, and then jumped to 31 in 2017. Ensuring the safety of everyone in our country is one of the responsibilities of the president. However, when violent acts erupted under Trump's administration, he dismissed them. Not only does Donald Trump look the other way, he supports them. Trump fails to understand the gravity of his words. Furthermore, by not condemning these navis actions, he is essentially condoning them. When asked if white nationalism has become normalized and part of today's culture, Tenold expressed that tolerance and acceptance for their far-right beliefs had begun to take hold. Furthermore, Tenold espouses that America has become an easier place to become racist. A tolerance for racism and prejudice at the highest political level is what gave Trump the White House. What will allow Trump to grow and continue to have support of his base during his tenure in the White House is his reluctance to disparage the violent acts of white nationalists, his racial rhetoric, and his policies to oppress minorities. Trump's rhetoric has transformed ambition of the alt-right from political aspirations to legitimacy within mainstream politics. In order to combat this degradation of values in our political parties, American voters must be willing to vote for candidates at all levels of political office who can uphold the values upon which our nation was founded. This solution will cause a shift from encouraging alt-right activities to a transformation into renewed shared values of welcoming racial and cultural diversity. In spite of this, changing the political demographics may push the conservative right to extremism and further radicalization.
Paige, thank you. First question, what information did you need that you weren't able to find or locate, and how did you go about trying to find that information?
Well, I was able to get information such as my interview with Vegas Tenold, the author of Everything You Love Will Burn. He was present during the 2016 election with the alt-right. He spent 6 years embedded in their culture. So I would include him as a primary source. However, I was not able to get the voice of the alt-right activist, which I would have heavily used in my counterclaim and also for my dog whistles.
Okay, thanks. Second question, how did you use the conclusions and questions of others to advance your own research?
Well, like I said, Kessler agrees that social media has been a huge platform for modern societal movements. Vegas and I had both discussed that this had been one of the thresholds that had been taken hold of during the 2016 election. I used both their opinions to come to a solution that would both include the modernization of the political sphere and also understand that demographics change and so does the political forum.
Okay, well, thanks.